It's easier to be who you are and look like how you want and not worry about what other people think, because in the end they're only going to see what they want to see anyway. Hey everybody, this is Snook, and today I want to talk a little bit about something that happened to me over the last few days, other than me sleeping a ridiculous amount of time. A few days ago, I received a art subscription box. I am by no means an artist, don't claim to be, would love to be, but I am not. One of the things that I did, and didn't even think twice about it, was I did the prompt, which was pirates, and I drew this picture. Now, this big flower was not originally part of this picture. I really messed up the tree in the background. So I took a big flower, cut it out, glued it on, and then glued on some other bits to cover up the mess that was underneath it, because to me this was a story that, while I was making my drawing, which I will be the first to say is not beautiful, but it's mine, and already as I was drawing it, in my head it had a story. So I didn't want to start over, because to me the story was already on this piece of paper. And at the end, I even got a little gutsy and I made these fluffy clouds, which look horrible. I fully realize that. But it didn't matter, because it was my attempt to use new medium to draw and color with. And as much as this is not a master art piece by any means, it's something that I drew, and in my head I have a story that goes along with it. Actually, many stories that go along with it. So in the video that I did of the box opening, I did put this in the back, and I showed my work and I wrote a post on it, and I was really proud of it, and I still am. Now, if somebody who is an artist would actually look at this, I'm thinking most of them, not all, but most of them would wonder how I could put something of that quality in a post and be proud of it. And my whole point of putting it in there was that most of the people that are doing art box openings are artists, just like most of the people that are doing makeup unboxings are artists, as in makeup artists or creative, that kind of thing. What people fail to realize is that whether it's an art box or a makeup box or any other kind of creative box, it gives you the outlet to learn. And nobody starts at the top. Everything takes time. It takes practice. Even public speaking takes practice. Writing takes practice. You can be a natural storyteller and have the stories in your head. But if you can't speak and hold people's attention, that story is lost. If you can't write it down and hold people's attention, that story is lost too. So what I try to do is show that while this is not a work of art, except to me, it's okay. It's okay to start at square one, because you have to start somewhere. And it's okay to show your progress if you want. And I wanted to. I was proud of what I did. I was proud of each element in this picture. I was proud that I didn't get frustrated when I messed the tree up, and I kept going, and I found a way to make something work. Just like what we should be doing in real life. If it's something that you want, and you want to learn, and you hit roadblocks along the way, or it doesn't become natural to you, but you still want to do that, it's just going to take a little more time. And there's nothing wrong with reaching for the stars and starting out at ground zero. Now, another thing that came about while I was doing my artwork, I had showed my mother, I had texted her, and my mother's 83. She's going to be 83. She is 83. And she went, oh. I knew it was coming. Believe me, I'm not delusional by any means. I knew it was coming. And then she says, well, now the flower needs a bee on it. And I was like, well, no, a bee is not part of this story that was in my head. And she goes, well, yeah, it would look really cute with a little bee on the flower. And I was thinking to myself, being honest, I was thinking two things. Number one, a bee doesn't belong in the story that's in my head that goes with my picture. Number two, a bee is not going to help this picture. It could be the best bee in the whole world. You could have the best artist in the world add a bee to the middle of this flower, and that is not going to make this piece of art any better. It's just not. I thought the next day I was sitting here and I wasn't feeling good. I thought, well, I'll draw my mom a bee. How hard can a bee be to make, to draw? So I drew it. I drew my bee as a person, okay? And then I drew the bee on a flower, and I put the stinger for the bee on its head, and then I drew it where the bee was standing on the edge of the flower, ready to dive in and get the nectar from the flower. So I'm going to show you the picture, and this is it. So here's the bee guy, and he's a little guy, but he has his bee wings on, and this is the white flower with the pretty nectar that he's going to jump in and grab on his antenna and then take it back to the hive. I'm just winging it here. There's nothing wrong with that. I was enjoying it. It was quiet in my house. I had my art supplies around me, and I was drawing my bee and making flowers and just testing things out and having a really good time. So when I got done with my bee and the art, and I signed my initials to it, I put it in a few Discords and said, some I put, what is this? I think the question was, and in other ones I just put it in there with no words or anything like that. And then I sent it to a couple friends of mine. One friend ended up getting back to me right away. And I said, well, what do you think? Or what do you think it is? And they had said something to me, and I went, oh. And then I looked at it again, and I went, oh. And I said, well, I can see that now. I said, well, it's a bee on a flower. And they went, oh, well, I can see that now. So the next place I looked, the next day, somebody had said, well, it's a guy that's standing on top of somebody. And I was like, I couldn't see it. And I was like, oh, okay. And it just took me by surprise because I couldn't see it. I couldn't see what they were talking about, but that didn't mean that they didn't see it, because everybody sees things from their own perspective. And if you don't give somebody any kind of clue of what they're looking at, they're going to see exactly what comes to mind. And everybody is going to put their own spin on it. It's just the way our brains work. Everything that we see out in the world is based off of our own thoughts. So there's a few other comments underneath there, and I was laughing so hard because nobody had guessed what it was. Just a plain bee on a flower. And somebody did point out that the stinger of the bee was in the wrong place, that bees have it not on the top of their head, but on their behind. Knew that what they were saying was correct. Then, tonight, earlier in the night, I went into another Discord that I had left it at. The last comment that was there combined what the first person said to me, and the second person had said to me, and the third person had said to me, and then their interpretation of the whole thing. And I ended up looking at the picture that I drew of a bee on top of a flower and went, oh my God, I can see it. I was like, I can see it. I can see what you just said to me. And now I can't unsee it. So, what do you do with that? How do you take something that is so innocent and now when I look at it, it's so not innocent. So I don't know what to do with the picture. I will definitely keep it, and maybe someday if I ever have grandchildren, hide it from them. I don't know. It just proves what I always say, is that it doesn't matter how you dress, what you look like. People are going to see what they see when they look at you. If somebody would ask you about your friends, and they would say, well, so-and-so's not that good looking, most of the time, you're going to say, well, yeah, they are. What are you talking about? And the more you know somebody, the closer you become with somebody, the more beautiful they become in your eyes, because you see who they are on the inside. And that beauty then shines through to you every time you look at that person. Right? I mean, how many people say they have ugly friends? And if they do, well, they're not really your friends. Because I can tell you right now, I do not have one friend that I would consider ugly. But if other people would look at me or any of my friends, I'm sure somebody would say that they are, and I am. And that picture proves that what was drawn very innocently can be taken so many different ways by not telling somebody what it really was. That it can change everything. Now I have a picture that I drew that I look at and totally crack up laughing, because I can't unsee what somebody saw in it. Taking it to a larger level, imagine how many different ways people see the world. That comes with no directions. It's just there for us to be in and to look at. So everybody puts their own spin on things, and you always need to remember that it's easier to be who you are and look like how you want, and not worry about what other people think, because in the end, they're only going to see what they want to see anyway. So keep that in mind next time. Keep that in mind when you're worried about what people think of you, how you want to be, and how you want to be perceived. Because really, you don't have much of a choice in the matter. People are going to perceive you how they do based on what's already in their head. So the best thing you can do is be your authentic self and let people find you for that reason, and get to know you and love you for that reason. Because up until then, they're only going to see you in their own mind based on what their life has been. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a great Sunday and the rest of the week. And just know that don't try to please other people. Just make yourself happy by being how you feel. Dress how you want to look like. Because people will see what they want to see, not what is really there. Bye. It's been a crazy. My mom's like, "Oh, are you gonna send it to me?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm not. Not sending that to anybody."